So like within Charles Schwab and I guess your new job, or if you even want to speak about your first experience, like have you ever dealt with like being in like a gender skewed field and kind of feeling like um, just that like it's very skewed against you? There's not a lot of females or women within your workspace, or if you just want to talk about that a bit.
I would say sometimes it can be kind of intimidating. Being looking a little different than everybody else. But I found that like no one is necessarily the expert in anything, and people are always looking to learn from others, and they're looking for an opinion or a decision on something. And so if you kind of take that initiative and figure things out, ask questions, so you can become that expert or learn things, and then speak up when you have your opinions. I think that's something that I've had to learn and really work on, it being in a more of a male-dominated profession or area, and just not being afraid to speak up, because everyone's always valued and listen to my opinion when I have done that. So yeah,
like
really
trusting yourself for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. I was, thinking on this a little bit more. Like, I think the Sheryl Sandberg book, like lean in, like it's a good phrase. Like, don't necessarily like, the questions like don't like how do you deal with it, but it's it's not deal with it. It's like how do you thrive with it? How do you how do you use it for your advantage? Like you're different, so you have a different point of view, you have a different perspective. So show that you have valuable opinions to bring to the table and a different way of thinking potentially.
Like it is a statistic that girls are more likely to drop out of like an econ major after the first like intro class or two. And do you just like want to speak on that a little bit, and maybe just like your experience if you ever felt like that, or you felt like maybe you weren't like good enough in pursuing the major, or just kind of like maybe felt intimidated or just really upset with like certain grades, and just like any of your experience like with that?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have had those experiences. I very much so remember freshman year, and one of the first, I can't remember if it was like macro or micro, one of the first introduction classes, and it was like after one of the first exams, definitely did not do well on one of them. And I was your stereotypical like perfectionist, high achiever kind of in high school. We didn't have tons of like the AP classes, so the high school wasn't terribly hard, and college was a big adjustment for me. Instead of just like memorizing some facts, learning that you had to like learn how to analyze things, really, not just memorize stuff. So that was, already a big adjustment. And then on top of that, just everything was a lot harder. And so I think the grade was like a 60 or something. It was low, and I remember being absolutely crushed. I specifically remember crying, calling my mom, like because you're just not used to that when you've been taking stuff that wasn't terribly hard. So it was definitely had that moment of like, what am I doing? Is this right for me? That kind of thing. I think my mom must have talked me down a little bit. Some friends definitely gave me some hugs and things like that. But I stuck with it. I majored in it, and because I think what I realized is that was like a first experience into it. College is such a big adjustment in the beginning, no matter what. Huge. And then those are tough classes. Like, you might not be perfect at them, and you might be used to being, pretty good at most of the things you've done. And so it's okay not to be perfect in all of that. And, for people who are contemplating, like, is this too, not my thing? Is it, should I drop out? Should I do something else? I would say, like, really think about why you're thinking about dropping out of it. If it's just because of, a test or two, or like one bad grade, but you're still really passionate, like that doesn't make sense. You gotta think a little longer term. It has to be a really good, purposeful reason if you're wanting to make a shift in your majors. But if you're still really interested in it, like stick with it. I also will say, like, those are just some of the foundational concepts you have to learn, and the classes get really super interesting, and there's a lot you can do with economics, and so don't hastily drop out of it. Really think about what's that reason why you're thinking about doing that.